On behalf of Interpeace and Salesforce.org, just thank you so much for coming tonight to listen to what promises to be one of the most inspirational and motivating events that we've ever held here, the London Peace Talks. So people actually asked me, why is Salesforce hosting such an event? And other than the amazing speakers, I mean, why wouldn't you host it? For us, it actually comes down to two fundamental things. First of all, we truly believe that the business of business is improving the state of the world. And we can only do that by working together in collaboration with all the incredible people that also have a passion for doing that exact same thing. But also, it comes down to one of our core values. And I've heard this word time and time again this evening and earlier today when we had an employee event around peace. It comes down to trust. The number one value of Salesforce is actually trust. Without that, we cannot work with our customers, we cannot work with our partners, we cannot work with our ecosystem. Because if we're not trusted, and if we don't have the ability to trust in others, then we can't be successful at everything that we're trying to achieve. And that's where peace comes in, because the fundamental base of tenet of peace also has to be trust, and the ability that we have to trust in each other and to be able to work with each other, knowing that it's a safe and sharing and collaborative manner. And so because we have this core value of trust, and because it is so key to the way that Salesforce operates, when it came to supporting Interpeace and the London Peace Talks, it was an absolute no-brainer. The conversations tonight promise to be absolutely incredible. I've had the privilege of already seeing some of the start points of them. And I promise you, you will not be disappointed. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Sarah Noble from Interpeace, who will be the compere for this evening. But please enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Charlotte, and it's a real pleasure to be here in London with you all tonight. Quite often, our headlines these days are dominated by stories of violence and conflict, but I assure you tonight, the London Peace Talks and our wonderful cast of speakers are here to give you hope. The Peace Talks is an initiative that was created in Geneva, Switzerland, with the United Nations Office at Geneva, Interpeace, and the Geneva Peacebuilding Platform, with the support of the Swiss government. And I'm actually pleased that the Swiss ambassador is here tonight, who helped create the Peace Talks back in 2013. Since then, we've had 11 events in different cities, and we've had over 130 speakers from former gang members, artists, business leaders, to the former UN Secretary General share their story about how they're contributing to peace. What we're really trying to do through the Peace Talks initiative is to showcase how each and every one of us can make a difference. Each and every one of us has the power to contribute to peace. You don't necessarily need to go and negotiate a peace deal or be a high-level politician, even though that is one way to do it. But just because peace seems like it's something quite often that is intangible, but it's actually something that we all contribute to and live and breathe on a daily basis. So we're delighted to partner with Salesforce.org to bring you the Peace Talks in London tonight. And we have an incredible list of speakers who will talk about their own experience, and our theme is Peace Without Borders. We're also going to be videoing the event, and it will be available later, but we also encourage you to share online using hashtag London Peace Talks on social media. So without further ado, we will start our evening. And our first speaker is Andrea, and she teaches art and textiles at Alperton Community School. And she's going to share with us her personal journey and the educational philosophy of trust-based relationships with her students that led her to be voted this year's World's Best Teacher. So without further ado, welcome, Andrea.
Hello, good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today and to be talking about something which I find so dear to my heart. And I'm the first speaker, so all the pressure's on me to get this right, get the pitch right for you all. my name is Andrea, and I've been asked the top question, and that's what is my motivation? I love my job. I'm obsessed by what I do, and what I do is I teach. I have the pleasure, the privilege of teaching art and textiles and being a senior leader in a school in North London, a school which is fairly large. It's 1,400 students strong. It's a school which invites cultures from all over the world. We're very multicultural, and it's a school which, unfortunately, beyond our gates there are troubles, because we are in the most deprived borough in the whole of London, if not one of the biggest areas in the UK. So why do I love my job? I love my job because, okay, it is tough, yeah? Teaching is tough. It's not what it used to be or what it used to say on the tin when you used to enroll to be a teacher. It's quite a challenge because our issues and our problems which our students are coming into are quite complex. And so the reason why it's a privilege and it's a joy to teach our students is because we try and ensure that whatever they're facing in terms of their backgrounds and their problems, they don't have that barrier when they come into our school. And we do that by being very welcoming. We do that by getting to know every single one of our children and making sure that they are okay when they come into the gates. Things like, have you eaten? Have you had breakfast? Have you had dinner the night before? These are questions which they seem quite trivial, but actually they will tell us exactly what has happened in our child's lives. Many of our children are carers. They will leave quickly after school, rush to the local primary school, collect their younger brothers and sisters, go home, cook and clean for their parents, make sure their parents are okay or their grandparents are okay, and then they will do their homework if they have time. Many of our children live in houses whereby they're sharing one house with approximately 8 or 12 other families, which means that they're living all in one room, so one family to a room. So sharing a bedroom with your mum and your dad and your grandparents, having to cook in the kitchen at a specific time of the day because that's the only time that the kitchen is available for your family to cook. Finding that the bathroom is actually the most quietest place in the house, and that's where I'm going to do my homework. And this is in London, and this is my students' reality. But that doesn't bother them. For them, they come to a school which they are passionate to learn. They come to a school which provides them with every single tool which they need. And for me, it's not just about giving our students a quality education. It is about making sure they've got absolutely everything they need. And for me, I believe that the key ingredient to any success for any child is the fact that you have a teacher in front of them who believes what I believe. And the thing that I believe is that every teacher has got to make sure that they build a relationship with their student. And I say that to all the young teachers who come to the school. They ask me, what's the one key thing? What's the secret of your success? How can I do this? And I'll just say to them, do not worry about anything else. You start by building a relationship with your child. Find out what it is that makes them tick. What is it that excites them? What is it that will make them want to come into your classroom, into your world, be taught by you? And as a result of that, our results, our grades are astonishing. Our children thrive in our schools, and regardless of their backgrounds, they do achieve tremendously. Now, teachers, wow. I don't think that I've met anyone in this world who has not said to me that one of the most important people who has influenced them on their journey has been a teacher. And if I was to ask every single one of you to say who has been that key person in your life who's made that difference, can I ask that? Actually, I'm going to ask that question. Who's been the key person that in your life has made a difference? Who would like to put their hand up and say, yes, it has been a teacher? Would you mind if you join in, please? Who has been a teacher? Thank you. Quite a few of you. Fantastic. Yes. They do have this incredible power. So what I do believe is that we need to make sure we value our teachers, that we provide them with as much support and care as possible. And there is an issue with recruitment all over the world, not just over here, for teachers, quality teachers. And what we must make sure we do is to remind them that we do believe in you, we do appreciate you, and we will support you by giving you good quality development and making sure that you have every single tool you need to succeed and inspire in your classroom. And if you have got children and your children do attend a school, do you know what would be amazing? Send them in with a little note saying, thank you very much for inspiring my child. Thank you very much for what you're doing for my child. That tiny little gesture will go such a long way. So back to my beliefs as well. I am an art and textiles teacher, and for some reason I was voted the best teacher in the world this year, and I am an arts and textiles teacher, which is quite astonishing, but I absolutely get it. And I get it because the arts are being squeezed out of most curriculums throughout the world. And that is a problem. Because I've seen how transformational, how incredible the arts are. Dance, drama, music, art in our children's lives. These are the key skills which they need to ensure that they are now going to be able to compete with other graduates on a global scale for job. They bring our children courage. They bring our children resilience. They make them better communicators. They encourage them to work in teams. And I think for me, the most important thing that I've seen in my students is how they're resilient they become, how they do not fear failure because they try something again and again. And this is what the art subjects do. So we must make sure we preserve them. We must make sure we celebrate them and ensure that all our schools all over the world recognize the value and how important they are. And I have faith. I have faith that they are now having that journey, that they are now having this incredible reawakening, this rebirth. And the last thing I'd like to share with you in terms of what my beliefs are is the fact that, you know, as children coming to a school, any school, we must make sure that we believe that every single one of those people have got a purpose. And we do that by including them, by being very inclusive. Arts is a very good way of doing that, but there are other techniques as well. Now, to include a child into a school, into society, by being absolutely crucial in providing them with a personalised education is fundamental to their success. And I can tell you stories of refugees coming to my schools without being able to communicate at all. But you put them in front of a musical instrument, or you put them in front of a piece of paper, or you put them on a sports field, and you watch them grow, excel in confidence. We must never underestimate who we have in front of us. We must never judge what their background is, what their colour of their skin is, and what their experiences are, because you will always, always be surprised. It's been my pleasure to speak to you today. Have a lovely evening. Thank you.
So much, Andrea, for reminding us about the importance of trust and of building relationships. So our next speaker will also talk about the power of education, but she'll take us to the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Noella is going to share with us her journey of transforming from becoming an international model to founding a wonderful nonprofit called Maleka, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about that. Please, Noella, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me today and to be among amazing trailblazer speakers. I'm Noella Kosaris. I was born in the Congo. I lost my dad when I was 5 years old. My mom didn't have any resources to keep me, so she gave me away. I grew up from families in Belgium and in Switzerland, à la Tour de Paix. I'm a Swiss citizen, actually. But when you say Switzerland, people think boarding school, rich. No. I had a very tough childhood. I was like a maid. And all the experiences that I have as a child make me very strong and make me believe that I wanted to succeed for the sacrifice that my mother did. I'm a mother of 2 children. I could never imagine to give away my children. So I was hungry for 13 years that I didn't see my mother, why she gave me away. But when I went to see her back in Congo and seeing the condition she was living on so poorly, I understand and I thank her for what she gave me. Before to start my talk, I want to congratulate the 2 winners of the Nobel Prize, Nadia Morad and Dr. Mukwege, because Dr. Mukwege is from Congo. And yesterday, listening his speech really give me goosebumps and a lot of sadness. He said 2 statements that it was very strong. Without women, there is no future. Without justice, there is no peace. And he says something deeper than that. He could have just taken his Nobel Prize, but he wanted to bring to the world that this conflict that we have, that we've been imposed in Congo, has to stop. And his first sentence that was, I come from a rich country, one of the most richest country in the world, but my population is the poorest in the world. Yes, in Congo, the population live under $1 a day. All of you here are all linked with my country through your iPad, through your computers, through your electronic cars. What you have in your electronic is called a mineral called coltan, and 80% come from Congo. What you have in your electric cars called cobalt, 70% of the reserve come from Congo. Gold, diamond, uranium, all these minerals. And we're calling that the green environment, but do we know who's digging this mineral? So I decided, seeing this conflict that's happening in Congo, and when I went back 13 years, to see so many children and girls out of school, I wanted to offer them a refuge where they can dream to become a doctor, an artist, a musician, where they have a refuge, where they don't think that tomorrow they will have to flee from their villages. Because we got 6 million people died over 20 years. It's a silent genocide that's happening. This month, we are in election. 2 hours ago, I was speaking with our staff that has to leave the school because there was some trouble and gunshot at not even 2 kilometers of a school. So what is the solution of a conflict country? You need to elevate from the early childhood and really nurture them with the power of high-quality education. That they are sitting on the 24 trillion of minerals, but that one day they need to be control of their own country and saying, the world needs us. It's not us that need you. And for me, it's how to put this transformation in their mind. So I decided to found Malaika 11 years ago, where you're going to create the next leaders of the continent, where the children that leave their home live on the floor, eat twice a week, but when they arrive at the school, they have a breakfast, they have lunch, they have high-quality education, as the school as beautiful as my son's going to a school here in England, where they have music, where they have sport, where they have IT classes, where this is their home, where they have a relationship with their teachers, and where they will leave our school with a package for life. So we started with 104 girls in a village where there's no water, no electricity, and it was quite scary to build a school in a village where there was no water, because even in order to make the bricks, you had to build a well. And when we build a well, we see hundreds of people coming every day to get the water from the well. So we decided beside the school we will build wells. So in 11 years, we built 17 wells that impact 30,000 people a year. The school started with 104 girls. Now we have 314 students. They arrive at 5 years old until 18. We have a community center where we build with FIFA. It's 600 meters of the school. And it's really developing a village with health and educational program where where the community center teach the mothers to read, to write. Mother Annie didn't know to read and write. Now she can read, she can write, she can do sewing classes, she knows to sewing bag, and we're selling this bag. We use sport as a tool for peace. We use to unify the village. We use the platform to give them a voice and to really bond the village, because through the school and the community center, a village that was forgotten is a village of unity. It's probably one of the villages most well-known in the Congo now. But all the programs we have, it's through the community-driven, and the model we created in the southern east of Congo can be developed anywhere in Africa and in the world. For me, being a mother, I bring my kids to Congo every year, and they don't see conflict. They see when they go in the village, they play in the village with the kids. They play nonstop. They want to learn Swahili. They learned French last year. And it's just great to see them because they mingle with them without any gender, without any prejudice, without any form of thinking why they don't have shoes, where they live. And that is something, the best gift I can give to my kids. My son is 8 years old. He decided that where he go to pick up always his friend, there was no water, so he asked me to build a well. He bring always 8-10 mattresses where he go to the market with me, and he bring to his friends, and he buy them, of course, soccer balls. Because through soccer, it's amazing how you unify an entire village. But what gives me hope is to see these children eager to learn, these children that never ask war, these children that never ask these minerals, these children that smile, that strive. And we really are a movement, because all over Africa, people follow Malaika, not only because we're a school, high quality, but because they see that as African, it's very important to give back to our continent. We have to give back. We need to write our own story. We need to collaborate, an equal partnership with the world. And that's the only way that Africa will rise. I think I have a sister from Rwanda. We've been in conflict for many years, but I think we're all brothers and sisters, politics killing us. But I have a sister here from Ethiopia. And I think if we all as women stand together, this is a new chapter we're writing for Africa. And I stand here, every time I go to Congo, I learn so much. I learn that from going to the best stage in the world and from the top CEO of the world, yes, I learn from them. But going to the village, that's where I learn. I learned it from this grandmother that has nothing, but she has humility, she has dignity. She teach me values. She teach me to take day after day. She's not on Instagram or on Twitter or on social media. I love my shoes for sure, but you know, she's a grandmother that's has her own story to tell us. And that's the reason my kids, without thinking, they will be the one taking over one day, Malaika, what we created. And with the story of Dr. Mukwege, or your story, we have more key role models. I speak about Lauriane. Lauriane is one of a student. She's 12 years old. She leaves her home where there's 5 kids. She go to the school. She's mentored by one of the best teachers in Harvard and Northeastern University. We're doing a program exchange. And they saw in her that she has an amazing potential. And normally in the summer of 2020, she will be going to do the summer camp at Harvard. So when you think about this hope, these sparkles we give to Lauriane, that she can create her own future, and without knowing, she has a talent. She's amazing in maths, and that's where she is a strength, and it's the reason that Northeastern or Harvard would like to have her in summer. So for me, when I built the school and the first stone, I never imagined that this dream will be that at 12 years old, a girl will be seen by a group at Harvard University that want her. And I really encourage all of us that we have to give back to our neighbors. We have to say hello to our neighbors. When I come in England, sometimes it took me time to know my neighbors. We don't talk to each other. Oh, there's a packet Amazon. Oh, you have too many packet Amazon. Can you stop? That's my neighbor. So I'm sorry, my kids want to order this thing for Christmas. But we always complain. And I think we have to look beyond that. We have to look that we are one. We all want peace. We want to leave a mark for our children, for the generation to come. It's been too many conflicts in the world. We want to teach them peace, empowerment, lifting. We want to see them smiling. When my son sometimes complains that he doesn't want to go to school, I replay pictures of him in the Congo and children. I say, you're going to go to school. You're going to go to learn. You have a chance to learn. And so many children. Every year we have to do a lottery for the school. Who's going to come to the school? So it's 1 shot per family, 1 to 3 kilometers. But it's so hard because they're starting at 5 years old. We have like 100 of children want to come, and they're so eager to learn. And when you have to do this process of lottery, as a mother, is really breaking my heart. So I really push. I have a dream for my governments and governments in Africa that we need to emphasize more in teachers training and updating our curriculum. We need to build not only school, we need to build high-quality school that will transform the continent, that will transform village, that will prepare the children for the 21st century. And that's that's what we have to do too for our own children, to make them ready for the 21st century. Thank you very much. How many minutes I did? I was like, my God, is it 8 minutes? I don't have a watch.
Our next speaker is a business leader with a strong sense of social purpose. Gail is the co-founder of Project Everyone, which is the campaign unit that launched the Sustainable Development Goals, or you may know them as the Global Goals of the United Nations. And she's going to talk to us about how they're all interlinked and how they link to peace. So Gail, the floor is yours.
As ever, it's always lovely to be in one of Salesforce's lovely events. It is true that I founded something called Project Everyone with the filmmaker Richard Curtis, and all we do is obsess about the UN's global goals. Who knows them? And be honest. I've just been honest, I'm terrified. Okay, good. That's like a lot of the room. We made them look colourful and pretty, and because from the outset we wanted these goals to be owned by everyone, right? My company name is Project Everyone. The goals are a project for everyone. When we got them from the United Nations, they did not look like this. Apologies to anyone from the UN in the room, but creative is not their kind of lead suit. So we coloured them up and made them look fab, and they seem to be successful, and people seem to like them. But I think the reason that I love them so much is that they're a plan. Okay, they're a plan to create a world that is safe and stable in a sustainable fashion for everyone. And the thing I think that is really cool about them, and the reason I had to play with the graphic, which you can see around the corner there with the wheel, is you see how they all link together. So when we first launched them, does anyone know how many there are? 17, terrible number. And we were trying really hard to get them down to 15 because they were launched in 2015. And so we thought that would be great, 15 for 2015. But we couldn't persuade the UN to do that. So they became 17. But we designed them into a wheel shape, which made things prettier. But also we got down, and this is a quote from Paul Polman, who's the current CEO of Unilever, about what is the goal of the goals. You can't possibly start a conversation with someone that I have 17 great things to tell you. So we tried to compress it into, my co-founder Richard Curtis is a filmmaker, and so he said we need a trailer. And so this was the headline on the trailer poster, as it were. The goal of the goals is to eradicate poverty, to reduce inequalities, and to reverse the impacts of climate change. So that was the sort of headline of what we're trying to do with the goals. But what I love about them is that whatever you put in the middle of the wheel, it has this amazing impact on all of the other ones. So knowing the theme of this evening's talks, we put goal 16 in the middle, the peace goal. And it's just, don't worry, I'm not going to follow the supermodel and the best teacher in the world by talking through every quadrant, but I do encourage you to go and have a look, because it's really interesting and fascinating to me anyway. Maybe I'm just a goal nerd. Peace affects and underpins every single goal in the wheel. And put another way, if you don't have peace, you haven't got a chance of achieving any of the other goals. So whether you're looking at, it's maybe a little more obvious if you're trying to eradicate poverty and there's conflict, then you're going to have not much chance of success. Equally difficult to educate people, goal 4. And we've heard a lot about amazing stories of education, but as you know, Noella, in a conflict zone, you get gunshots 2 kilometers away, it's not possible. But then you look at the other goals, some of the more modern goals, infrastructure, sustainable cities, climate action. None of this is possible if you don't have a basic stability and a basic peace. And, it's interesting if you think about the world's leaders at the moment. Let's not mention the orange one, but he's not creating a peaceful society on any level. He's not in his own country, around the world. And it's having a terrible impact on many of the goals in America and also globally. And I think, I really do encourage you to go and have a look at the circle and read all of them, because it's fascinating. And you can put lots of them in the middle and do the same trick. And I suppose the climate one is the most obvious partner to the peace one. If we've really ruined the planet, then none of the goals are going to happen. But I think peace is up there in terms of if we're not stable, both in our minds, in our countries, and at a global political level, then we're never going to achieve the goals, which is something we hope to manage to do. So that's my job. But I thought tonight it felt like more of a personal take on peace. So I just wanted to also talk through some things that have inspired me on this theme across the journey of the last few years, because I think it can be really overwhelming. I think, like Sarah said, we can't all be peace negotiators. We can't all, cause wars to cease. And there's some terrible things going on in the world at the moment, and I think sometimes it is really overwhelming and it spurs you into inaction. And so I just wanted to talk. I'm going to end up talking about refugees as it happens, and just some really incredible actions on the parts of friends of mine that I've come across. But just the personal journey for me was, I don't know, has anybody read this book, What is the What? Oh, great. So there's like loads of people, bar one, who can have a treat. I really recommend you read it, by Dave Eggers, who's a very cool American writer, but he wrote this really off-type book. And I say off-type because it's about a child in Sudan in the conflict era, and it's a fiction but based on a real story, and it's searing. It's searing as a mum. This child was young when he had to flee, and he basically walked across several countries until he could get shipped out to the States for some peace. So that, and I read that about 4 years ago before I started working on the goals. And it just stuck with me. And then I was absolutely astonished and blessed to then meet this chap, or both these people. So I don't know if do you recognize the two people on the right? These are two members of the Team Refugee. Do you remember the refugee sports team in the Olympics? And so Yusra is a swimmer from Syria who had saved many people on boats because she and her sister were such good swimmers. And then this other chap was a Sudanese athlete. He was a runner. And they both, we put them both on our stage when we launched the goals in 2015 at the UN. And his speech was just amazing. He said, I'm athlete, I'm refugee, but what I want is, he said, I've got food, kind of, I've got shelter, I really want a job. And, it was just really stuck with me that the whole aid model is really important to get people out of absolute crisis, but to build a sustainable, lasting peace, you need education for sure, and actually he credited that. But then people want a job, to feel like a citizen, to be recognized for who they are. And I have loads of examples since then, and maybe I'm just noticing them, of friends who are, I've got a huge curator of big art exhibitions, and she currently runs the Paris Opera, but she was doing a side project with people who'd been displaced from Damascus, but who were incredible artists. And so she was going into different camps and giving them very small commissioning budgets to make art, just to remind them who they were, and that people noticed them and wanted to work from them and hear from them as artists. And so I just want, and I know there's a few, but I just wanted to pull out a couple of really live examples now. So there's an organization called 2.org, which is run by a dear friend of mine who's a Senegalese Swiss chap, and he's lucky. He's really lucky. He's from a really wealthy family. He has not known conflict. He's fine. But what he's doing with his life is going into places that aren't fine, and I've just pulled out a couple of them. He's harnessing his community, right? He's young, he's attractive, he knows loads of famous people. But what he's doing is he's driving this ice cream van into camps in Uganda, in Cox's Bazar in Bangladesh, and many others in Africa particularly. And they're creating mini enterprises so that they can give people jobs and give people identity and give people hope. So the lady up there, I should have worn it. It's an amateur. Making really brilliant necklaces that Naxon then takes out around his big celebrity network friends and important businesses and gives them at weddings and sells them in different places. And so he's providing a real stream of income for the ladies of Cox's Bazar, but also providing a really great talking point outside of Cox's Bazar so people can remember that there are people in the world who are living in these conditions and they need work and they need help. And then down here, this is one of my favorites. In Uganda, he has organized a scheme whereby people collect plastic bags, which are a problem. They then stuff them into plastic bottles, which are also a problem. But and they're getting paid to do this. And then what is created are these bricks called bottle bricks that they then build latrines, they build schools, they build houses, light lift in terms of building materials, cleaning up a problem, getting paid to do it, and then creating a lasting legacy. And there's loads of these projects. They're inspiring, and I just thought, wow, that's just one guy decided to do that, and there's this incredible impact. And then this is my last one. And you can all, it's nearly Christmas, we're all buying presents for people. This is this was founded by a lady who lives in Geneva, actually Geneva-based, and she was a hedge funder. And the bank she was making millions for wanted to give away some money as CSR, so she was on a trip to see how they could do that. And she ended up in a camp called SEP in Jordan, which was full of Palestinian refugees. And she was offering them money, and she said it was just incredible. They didn't want CSR money. They said, we want jobs. We really want to be doing something. We just want to be taking money because then you're gone, and then it's gone. So she set up SEP Jordan, which is just the most wonderful stuff, like scarves, cushion covers, throws. And I just bought one for a friend, actually, who is going through an illness, and she's in recovery, and I bought one as a symbol of female resilience, because I thought this story just said it all to me. You were talking about women, supporting women, but I just thought this was a woman who'd seen a need and had then totally pivoted her whole career to set up this ongoing, now I think they employ 300 artisans, mainly ladies, some men, and we're taking it, we're bringing it to Davos with us. So everybody can do something, that's my message. Even if you're not a supermodel, best teacher in the world, we can all find ways to promote peace. Just so obsessed with how great your dress is. But thank you very much for having me, and check out SEP Jordan.
Thank you so much, Gail. So now we're going to switch formats a bit, and we're going to actually invite our youngest Peace Talk speaker ever to join us to stage, together with in conversation with Charlotte. Bana comes to us, she's originally from Aleppo in Syria, and she gained worldwide awareness when she was tweeting, unfortunately, about the horrors that she was facing. But today she's going to talk about her life and her book and a message for the world.
So, you are 9 years old, Bana.
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, for many, many people in this audience, including myself, we cannot remember what it was like to be 9 years old. So maybe you could start off by telling us a little bit about yourself, what excites you and what you're passionate about, and what it's like to be a 9-year-old today.
Being 9 years old is difficult and easy. But it's difficult if you are living in war. Like me, I have 2 brothers. I was so scared for them. Even I didn't care for my life. I cared for them just to be not injured or die. But now, I'm the happiest girl in the whole world. My family is with me, everyone with me, but still there is something I'm sad for.
Okay, what are you sad for?
There is some children that still they are dying in war. And I really hope they can live in peace and have education.
So let's go to talking about what happened to you when you were in Syria. Do you remember living in Syria before there was war?
Yes, I know. I was always going with my dad to swim in the pools. It was my favorite thing to do.
And how about your brothers?
Oh.
'Cause they're younger than you, aren't they?
Yeah, they were born in war.
So they'd never known life.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, it was so nice. We were always, all the family, go to shopping and to go to some restaurants. I was meeting a lot of people, talking with them, and always going with my uncles to the market to buy jelly. It was my favorite thing to eat.
Now, is that the American jelly or is that the English jelly?
No, it is a Syrian jelly.
Oh. So what's Syrian jelly?
All of them have different flavors. Even always, it doesn't finish its flavor, and yeah, it stays the color. And sometimes when you eat it, your tongue become the color which one the flavor you eat.
You know, I think I might like that. So, Can you tell us a little bit about what happened then?
Like after day by day by day, we are okay and like that. And then one day, I was sleeping. This is the first time when the bombs came.
And how old were you then?
I don't know, I think 3 or 4. Yeah, 5. Yeah. It was 5 years old. I was sleeping. And then I woke it up. It was actually school time for me. And then I was searching for my mother. I thought she was awake because she always wake really early. Always that like that. Yeah, I thought that she was awake, and then I went to the kitchen to look for her, and then I suddenly heard a lot of things shaking, and then I was so scared, and then the window was next to my bed. It was a small bed on the floor. And then all the glass fell on the bed, and then my mom waked up, and then my dad. They were like, "Where is Bono?" They were like so scared and shocked. And then when I came and I was so scared and crying and saying, "Mom, Dad, where are you?" And like that, they say, "I'm here. Thank God that you are not over there and injured." And then we cleaned the glass, and then from that day, I couldn't go to school. And then my brothers came, and like that, we were so sad. I was sad too. We couldn't have education. We couldn't go outside to play. We did have a small garden under the, like, there in the streets. Yeah, and yeah, there was a garden. It was destroyed. There was when I played when I was a baby, when I was 3 years old. It destroyed, and we couldn't see my friends. Sometimes I try to run and go to their house to see them. Yeah, and then after days like that and war and like that, my friend died, Yasmin, and all my toys were with her because I gave it to her. She wanted them to play in her house, and she liked to play with my dolls. And always we were best friends. We were playing together when we were kids, going to school. And she was always coming to my house, even if there was bombing, and also me. It was the best time. But when she died, it was the saddest time for me. And then the ambulance came. Like, they helped a little bit. They were like taking the rocks to see if she's alive or something. They tried hard, and then they saw that she's dead, and I was crying, and it was nearly my birthday on June 6th. Yeah, and it was the day before my birthday. I was so sad that she wouldn't come to my birthday and celebrate with her and play.
But it sounds as though you'll never forget her.
Yes, I will never, never forget her because she was my best friend. She was always making me happy.
And so is she one of the reasons why you then decided that it was time that people knew how you felt?
Yes. That time I told my Mom, why nobody hear us? Why nobody save the children? Why nobody does something? Why nobody hear the voice when all the children are yelling and crying and running from bombs? And then my mom told me, you can tweet, and then that day I started tweeting. And my first tweet, I did it in my school when it was destroyed. And I did it. I was so scared that nobody would hear me. I told my mom, I think it didn't work, and then she told me, wait. I waited. Like, on the another day, I opened the phone, and then many people started hearing me. Many people started following me, and I started tweeting for them and saying what is happening. And even if there was no network, the people and some men come to our house and try to fix the network so I can do it. And always they say, "Good job, Mana. I hope you will let us free from this." And I promised them, so I will not.
And so people started to hear you.
Yeah, it was the best time. I was like, oh my God! Now everybody started hearing me, and I started tweeting, and I came now here, and still I'm talking.
So, but there's some bits in between, isn't there, between then and now? So, your family now lives in Turkey. So, how's that?
We are so good, and I'm so happy. I have a new friends and a new school, and I'm studying Turkish, but it's pretty hard.
Yeah, I bet. But you did some exams last week, didn't you?
Yes, I did it so fast, but my friends are still doing it. I did it like before my friends. I started on Wednesday, not the before, not the last one, the before one. I started, I don't know when, but it was a lot long, yeah. And I did them, and I did some of them 2 and 1 and like that. They were pretty hard, but I did I felt happy because all of them were like up to 50 and higher than 50, and they were out of 60.
That's amazing. Did you ever think, when you first started going to school, that you would be happy to write an exam?
I was excited to go to school.
Yeah.
Because it was a long time that I didn't go to school. And the first time I went to school, I was like shaking a lot and saying, ah. And then the teacher introduced me. I was third grade when I came. And like she said, this is Bana, she's from Syria, and like that. And I seated, and like that we started studying, and like that I was like, it's nice. I loved it. And then the exams came really fast, and I was like, okay, I will try it. And then they all became good. I was happy.
And so you do like school and you like learning, and you were telling me that you enjoy reading. So what's your favourite book at the moment?
Okay, the first one is Harry Potter a lot. I love it because there is a lot of adventures and excitement inside it. And I love so much magic. And I have the second one, and it's a Sedora Moon. She's a small girl, and she is funny because she is a health vampire and a health fairy. And also she have Pink Rabbit, and he is a teddy, but her mother magicked him and he became alive. And also there is adventures inside it and magic. This is why I loved it.
So I'm getting what your favourite type of books are.
Yeah.
And there's somebody that you would quite like to meet, isn't there?
Yes.
Who's that?
I really want to meet J.K. Rowling.
So anybody in the audience that can help with that one? Just putting it out there.
I want to really meet J.K. Rowling because she gave me hope and power to do this and stand up now in front of you all.
And she's also given you the power to do something else, because you've written your own book, haven't you, Dear World?
Yes.
Want to tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, I think I have my book or no. So yes, I did it with my mom. My mom helped me. Yes, she spoke about me and the situation in Syria. Also, I did speak and I wrote some of them. I quite didn't remember, but my mom helped me when I was small. But all of it, it was me. Yeah. Also, my book tell how my house did be destroyed and how my friends died and like that, and also some happy times, and the last page, my birthday. It was so nice.
And just a point to leave everybody with, what's the big message that you want to give them that you put in your book? Why is peace so important to you?
Okay, I just need that. I forgot it. Thanks. Okay. Now, peace means a lot to me. And also life, power. Yeah, and I really hope somebody can help the children. Somebody can save them. Let them have more education. Let them have houses. Save them from war, from dying from hunger. I hope really every child can suffer from war and hunger. So I really need help. So this is Amal, who died from hunger, and also she was so happy over here when her father gave her her earrings, and she was so happy on Eid, and she told him, "Father, can I wear my new earrings for Eid?" Because she didn't know if she will stay alive or die. So this is the last moment she became alive. She was dead from hunger because there was no food and no water to drink. And she was only drinking dirty water from the dirty lakes. I hope no one will die from hunger and from war, because the children are your children, your sister and brothers. I hope really they can live in peace and have education. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker comes to us from Salesforce.org. Judith Bird is the Senior Corporate Counsel, and she's also the Global Philanthropy Chair of FaithForce. And she's going to talk to us about the importance of respecting and understanding faith and how to build peace. Welcome, Judith.
Good evening, everyone. I'm really honoured to be here tonight, and I have to say that I'm slightly humbled to be sharing a platform with such amazing speakers. Peace cannot be achieved by force. It can only be achieved by understanding. So said Albert Einstein in 1930. And when he said this, he wasn't talking about armed conflict or war. He was talking about disagreements and disharmony between two people or groups of people. Peace cannot be achieved by force. It can only be achieved by understanding. So, in other words, even if you have rules in place that somehow forbid conflict, or if you force people into accepting some kind of behaviour, you will never achieve real peace. Only true understanding can lead to real peace. Or put another way, if the world only understood you, you would be at peace with the world, and the world would be at peace with you. So what do I mean when I ask for peace in the world? To me, I'm asking for a world where we respect and understand one another, and particularly in relation to one another's faiths, religions, and fundamental beliefs. Now, I'm not saying that we need to agree all the time. That would clearly be unrealistic, not to say somewhat boring. But what I am saying is that you need to respect and understand each other, and only in so doing can you create a peaceful world. Now, I know that this sounds simplistic, but to me, it's really true. Now, I'm not talking today, obviously, about peace, meaning the opposite of war. I have never had to experience war, and the only experience I've had of war has been seeing it through the safety of a TV screen. And as I said earlier, I'm extremely honoured and humbled to be sharing the stage with people who have sadly had to experience war up close and personal. So I can't talk to you about that kind of peace, but what I can talk to you about tonight is my own kind of peace, my own inner peace, what peace means to me, and also about how I really truly feel that in developing understanding, we can lead to world peace. So a little bit about my background. So I was brought up as a Christian. I was christened, I was confirmed. I have to say slightly dragged along to church. It really didn't mean that much to me as a child. And probably religion wasn't really that important to me until I was about 23. And when I was 23, my beloved father died. And my dad and I were really close. So for me, this was really devastating. And I have to say that I felt really totally alone and bereft, kind of adrift in the world. But it was really exactly at this time that my faith came to my rescue. And I can't really explain it, but I received really a kind of inner peace, an inner strength, and a real sense of purpose. And that was kind of what got me through that time. And that really has, was with me then. And it's always been with me, and it's with me today. I have to say that my faith and my inner peace, though, has not only been there in the saddest of times, it's also been there in quite possibly the happiest times of my life as well, such as the birth of my beautiful daughter, my marriage to my husband. But essentially, my faith is who I am. It's right at my very core. However, I do have to say that to me, the details of my Christianity are actually not that important. Where I or anyone else worships, the particular doctrines of the religious faith that I'm part of are not actually that important. To me, inner peace is a way of life, and it's not a religious doctrine. And what this means to me, I guess, is that I always strive to love and respect everyone else that I meet. And I always try to seek out other people's views. And I always expect, or should I say hope, to be treated the same. Now, each of us obviously has different faiths and beliefs and religions. And even in the same type of religion, there can be many differences of detail. And obviously, one's own inner peace is completely unique to you. So what I would ask of you is that when you meet someone with a different faith or a different belief, or obviously a different inner peace, everyone will have a different inner peace to you, that you don't put up barriers, you don't prejudge, but you open your mind. And I really would like to invite you to do 3 things. And first of all, I would invite you to ask questions. Really try to see the world through their eyes. Secondly, listen, and I mean really listen. You're not listening with a view to try to prejudge them or to find holes in arguments that they might present to you about their religion, but with an aim of really obtaining a proper, deep understanding of what they're telling you. And I'd invite you to keep asking questions until you really do truly understand. And finally, respect their viewpoint and their right to think differently to you. And I think that's really important. And then you can really rejoice in the understanding and bond that you've created. My view is very much that a developed understanding is essential to mutual respect, and in turn, mutual respect leads to harmony and peace. Now, I guess few of us have the chance to bring about peace on a global or national scale, but I have to say that I think every one of us can bring about peace on a small or local scale, and this can even happen in the workplace. So in a recent survey in the UK, over 1 million people said that they had suffered some kind of religious-based discrimination at work. Now, I think that's totally unacceptable, and it really truly doesn't have to be that way. I'm really lucky that I work for a company, Salesforce, where equality is one of our core values. It's a company where everyone is empowered, indeed expected, to bring their true, authentic selves to work. And this means so very much to me. It's a place where I can be free from concern about being judged, free from having to hide my own faith and my feelings. I'm free to seek an understanding from others, and in turn, I'm free to be understood myself. And that's really wonderful. So how do we do this? Well, we have a culture which is very much built around the concept of what we call ohana, which is a Hawaiian word meaning family, which I would say is essentially a deep-seated support system. We have 10 ohana groups within the organisation, which are employee-led, and they strive to create equality and to make equality a reality amongst the workplace. And one of those groups is called Faith Force. And I'm truly honoured to be involved in Faith Force at a global level. So I'll tell you a little bit about Faith Force. So we acknowledge, celebrate and foster a deep understanding of different religions. It's open to everyone who wants to learn about different faiths or in our global communities. And I think our strapline really sums us up well. The strapline is enlighten, celebrate and inspire. Now, to me, enlighten is the most important of these. We really do seek to enlighten others about different faiths and to create an understanding. And one of the ways that we do that is that we host events where people share what their faith means to them, and this in turn creates peaceful dialogue. And I'm really extremely grateful to my organisation that this is something that's encouraged. Now, I did say earlier that few of us can really influence peace on a global scale or even a national scale. But, maybe that's not true. I do think that by each of us influencing peace in our local world, that maybe even the wider world can become a better place. The journey to peace following wars must inevitably begin with a simple handshake and a willingness to understand the other side's perspective. Therefore, always ask questions and listen, don't judge. Try to understand different faiths. Create an environment of tolerance and harmony at work or at home or wherever you are. Secondly, encourage organisations to promote equality and create environments where we can each be our true, authentic selves. And spread the word, understanding is key, not just tolerance. Now, to me, this is I know a simple model, but it's really exciting. I do truly believe that if just one person seeks to learn about another person's faith and develops a true understanding, this in turn can inspire others. Now, they in turn can spread the word to their friends and family, who in turn can do the same. Groups can come together, and businesses can get on board supporting this with resources. Maybe even one day, politicians and world leaders will advocate the same approach. And little by little, step by step, we can each develop an understanding and tolerance, and in small steps, move towards great peace. Einstein was not a world leader or a statesman, but of course he was a man with a brilliant mind. Peace cannot be achieved by force. It can only be achieved by understanding. And whatever type of peace we're talking about, I, for one, agree.
So our next speaker has a very powerful story to share. Ariane will share with us how surviving the Rwandan genocide and the experiences that she faced has made her a better peace builder today in different countries where she's supporting peace building efforts working with Interpeace.
I'm also very honored and grateful to be here tonight. As Sarah just said, my name is Ariane Nhesha. I come from Rwanda. I'm single. Don't know if it's relevant for you, but who knows? And I'm a peace builder. So it took a while for me to own to that qualification. Actually, I think it's the first time that I just said that, because I used to find it very pretentious to say that one is a peace builder. But through the last 2 weeks and the agony I went through preparing for this talk, and the inner exploration and going back to the 10 years I've been working in peace building, I realized that I learned quite a few lessons that I will share with you tonight. As a genocide survivor and living in a country that has dedicated the last 25 years to uniting a torn nation, one tends to become a little bit opinionated about matters of reconciliation. Rwandans, as you know, have taken into their hands to find solutions to overcome the aftermath of the genocide against Tutsi that occurred in 1994, and have done tremendous achievements, drawing from their traditions. Some of you might have heard of the Gacaca courts. That's the example that is always given. Me, I give the example of the Rwandan women who have today taken back their power. I think that's the biggest achievement of human development today in Rwanda. So having worked 5 years in my early career, 5 years in Rwanda, working in a peace building initiative, local initiatives, looking at the efforts going on in my country, when given the opportunity to work at the international level, I was really confident in my experience, confident in my knowledge, and eager to share it with the rest of the world. And of course, I was very naive and very sweet at that time. When I went abroad, working in different contexts, that's when I encountered the first border, the border of my understanding. Of course, the limited understanding of the new context, the different social constructs, the different interactions, the different political dynamics, but that's the basis. I came face to face with my limitations that started from the mere interpersonal communication to the most complex issues. In Liberia, for example, it was difficult for me at first to differentiate a really lively, friendly conversation from a heated argument, because Liberians have the way of communicating their body language. Those who know. But also in another context, I would have to respect the fact that culture would prevent a traditional chief to talk to me, because first of all, I was a commoner. Second of all, I was a woman, so I had to swallow my pride and accept that reality. In Côte d'Ivoire, I would have to come to terms with the fact that a 14-year-old who would be smiling today in an Art for Peace workshop tomorrow might rob someone and even kill someone, because that's the only way he knows how to earn money for his own family. That's the only way he knows how to keep his position in his gang. That's the only way he knows how to survive. So I was slapped in the face by my own ignorance and arrogance, of course, and learned my first lesson, which is that as an external actor to this context, it wasn't my peace to build. The only way I could contribute was to maybe contribute to creating the condition and the space for these communities, this society, to sit and reflect and find their own solutions and figure it out. The second border I encountered was the border of my own imagination, and this one I still struggle with it today because, of course, as peace builders, we have our own classics that we go to. We do the context analysis, the mapping of stakeholders, the focus groups. We love focus groups. And then we have the trends of the moment, resilience, gender integration, youth entrepreneurship. all those big words and jargon that, of course, tend to make great strategies that have worked in certain contexts, but sometimes we are too comfortable in those warm strategies that we've been applying for the last, I don't know how many years, and tend to forget that there are other people around us, there are other rising voices that need to be integrated in this conversation, in the design of these peace-building programs. My weakness is with regards to technology, because we're now getting more and more pressure to integrate technology in peace building. But it's such a cold word already, technology. And us as peace builders, we would like proximity, direct contact, interaction. But talking with my brother last week about this, he said, this is the biggest challenge we meet with people, is because people do not really understand what technology can do for them. He's a software developer. He said that people tend to look at the technology that exists and how it can work for their field, instead of looking at what the change they want to the change they want, the transformation they want, and how maybe technology can innovate to respond to that change. And actually that made me think that there are so many people that we are excluding from this conversation, from which we can learn and who can also innovate through us. We can make them grow, and thus we can make them more interested in peace building. So how do we integrate these people that are not linked to our what we do? How do we maybe include the private sector and show them how being conflict sensitive in their business might make it strive more? So that was the second lesson I learned, and I'm still learning now. I'm not saying I've applied it yet, but for sure I will. And the third one, and the biggest border maybe that still unsurmountable, is our limited capacities. As peace builders, we are always asking ourselves, do we have the means to our ambitions? Are we doing the right thing? Is it enough? Are we still needed? Are we really needed in this context? Noella, who is from DRC, knows well that billions of US dollars have been poured in DRC in the last 3 decades, but nothing really is changing. We are still hearing of massacres today, and we are all scared of what's going to happen in the aftermath of the upcoming elections. So really, what are we doing? So asking yourself these questions every day can be sometimes disheartening, discouraging, but then you remember that there is Armelle. Armelle is a young lady who is part of the Cross-Border Dialogue for Peace program that was initiated by Interpeace and 6 partner organizations in Congo, Rwanda, and DRC. And part of that program is to create dialogue groups where people from these different countries can sit and look at their past, confront their stereotypes about one another, and actually exchange and see if they can become peace agents in their regions. Armelle, so the first time she participated in this group, she told us that she pretended for like 3 sessions. She was just pretending. She just wanted the transport money. She just wanted to create networks with other civil society organizations. But then as she started listening to the other group, she realized, because she had this stereotype in her head that all Rwandans were evil because members of her family had been victims of the 2 Congo wars that followed the genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda. So she had these stereotypes that all Rwandans were evil, were after her, and she was raised like that. But then she started looking at them as humans and seeing that they were also victims of the circumstances. They had the same struggles. I think it's Michelle Obama who said recently that it's really difficult to hate up close. So she started going to Rwanda, and now she has created a network with Rwandan women through which they protect women who do cross-border commerce. So for me, if there is a chance that someone like Armelle can transmit these values of tolerance, trust to the next generation, to her kids and to her community, all these efforts are worth it. And as for me, if I contribute a little bit, a mere 0.01% to that change, and I think I can call myself a peace builder. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Ariane. And we're now coming to our last speaker of the evening, Yeti. And Yeti is an amazing individual. At the age of 5, she had meningitis, and this made her blind, but this hasn't stopped her from achieving amazing things. She is a human rights lawyer, she is a disabilities advocate, and she also won the Right Livelihood Award in 2017 for acknowledging all of the things that she's doing. And I can go on and on about the incredible things, but I will let her share her story. So Yeti.
Thank you, everyone. And I am so honored that I'm being part of this, honestly, not theoretically, but practically distinguished list of speakers. And the most powerful, the most difficult job to do is to speak after all these amazing speakers. So bear with me. First, I really feel very honored for being needed to speak at this event. Because for me, the greatest need is to be needed. And when somebody tells me that they need me, I feel honored. Because it's a daily experience that quite so many people are not needed, though they want to feel needed. They want to feel wanted. I want to take you back, some years back. It was in a rural area back in Ethiopia, and it gets back to who I am. My name is Yetnebush, which means where have you been? In my language. I'm called so because my mom gave birth to me when she was 14, though she was married when she was 11. At the age of 11, my mom didn't give consent to be married. She was forcefully married to a man that she never chose, who happens to be my dad. Their marriage didn't end longer. They divorced 3 days after my christening. That was because she was not requested if she was willing to do. That's the kind of place I learned that home can be turned into a battle. My mom never had a peaceful night when she was pregnant because every day she has to fight with my dad, whom she forcefully married in accordance with the consent of her parents. Then she fled the village and she went away. I was forced to stay with my grandparents because it was not morally acceptable for the community to stay in her parents' house getting divorced. When I was 5 years old, I won a lottery, a lucky baby, like Bana, yeah? That lottery is called blindness. I turned blind, as Sarah told you, and that became my window to escape early marriage. I was no more wanted in that community, where each and every girl was a candidate for an early marriage, as my mom, my grandma, and other ancestors did. So, lucky me, no early husband. I was taken to the capital, tasted, and they told me, you can never be sighted. But the doctor said she can be educated. That turned my life into a miracle and brought me all the way here from Addis. None of the girls in my community were able to be educated. All of them married the latest age of 12. This is the kind of violence that Bana and her generation want to stop now. However, I want to show you another reality in life where I call myself that I am a billionaire. If I'm not wrong, who do you call a billionaire? Somebody who has billion, yeah? Or more. And I say I'm a billionaire because I have more than 1 billion sisters and brothers with disabilities all over the world, where the world could not open eyes and see their potential. I want to get back to Albert Einstein, who has a disability himself and who said that peace cannot be brought by force, rather by understanding. Many of us, anywhere in the world, feel misunderstood. And the moment somebody looks at me, starting from my childhood, they ask my mom, "Is she blind?" "Yes," my mom answers. "She's beautiful." My mom says, "Thank you." They say, "It's a pity that she cannot marry." I wonder how they knew, because now I'm married and have got 3 lovely kids. The first thing they ask is she blind?" "Yes." "Oh my gosh, sorry, I didn't know." And my mom says, "It's okay. It's okay that you didn't know." "Yeah, it's a pity that she's going to be a burden." My mom said, "It's okay, she will live until I live." And my mom, unfortunately, passed away when I was grade 11. And she didn't see all the fruits of the tree that she has planted and watered for age. My mom, her dreams were my goals. Her victory was my growth. It was unfortunate that she didn't listen and she didn't know where I am today. But I believe I have one disability and I have more than 99 abilities to cherish. In peace, every single person has a room and a role to play. For peace, even having a disability is not a limitation, rather an enabler. Because I cannot see, I'm not too quick to judge who is dressing up the best in this room unless somebody whispers into my ears. So you're a bit far or a bit late from judging. Because somebody doesn't hear, that person is a bit relieved from the gossips going around, which are mostly triggers for conflicts and lack of peace. So I would hope and I would beg that the world opens up another chapter of seeing and recognize our abilities over our disabilities. That way, we can contribute for this world 1 billion persons who tackle different barriers every day, be it at home, in school, at workplace. Those barriers have trained us to be problem solvers. So we won't come with our disabilities. We approach the world with our abilities, with our innovations to challenge life and change this world. So I want to tell you today the good news, that you have 1 billion persons in the bank of life who are not used to promote, protect, and defend peace everywhere. Use us, need us, for the best, for the greatest need in life is to be needed. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Yeti, for sharing your important message of peace. I'd now like to invite Scott Weber, the president of Interpeace, to close our event.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. We've heard some incredibly inspiring stories tonight from people, old, young, making the world a better place for others. And we need this more now than ever before. We are living a profound crisis of trust in the world. Trust in our governments, trust in our political systems, trust in our economic systems, and trust in each other. More people feel excluded today than before. They're made to feel that they don't belong. Meanwhile, our political leaders are calling for building taller walls and harder borders, when what we really need is to build longer tables. We can't wait for political leaders to find solutions to the work ahead. Peace, like a tree, grows from the ground up. And that's why the actions that all of you take, large and small, the choices that you make, large and small, make a big difference. This is why we wanted to create the Peace Talks in the first place, to be able to inspire people to see the role that they can play in making the world a better place, that this isn't the domain of governments or of Nobel Peace Prize winners. This is everyone's task. And I'm reminded of the words of Robert F. Kennedy at the Day of Affirmation speech, one of his most famous speeches in South Africa, which I encourage you to read. Just want to read an extract of it, where he was addressing precisely this issue about people feeling that my small actions, what difference can that make? And he said, and I quote, "Each time a man stands up for an ideal, or acts to improve the lot of others, or strikes out against injustice, he sends forth a tiny ripple of hope, and crossing each other from a million different centers of energy and daring, those ripples build a current which can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance." Your actions, even small actions, do make a difference. We heard 7 outstanding speakers tonight share their stories about the power of faith, the importance of empowering girls, the importance of inclusion, and that we're never too young to make a difference in this world. I hope that you've been inspired to think for yourselves about what role you can play to make the world a better place for other people, and that you're going to act on that tomorrow or even tonight. I want to thank our great partners at Salesforce.org, particularly Charlotte and your team. You've been tremendous. It's been such a pleasure to do this with you guys. In particular, so thank you, Charlotte. Thank you, Simon Redford. Thank you, Holly Belby and Laura Sayer. You guys have been really great. We look forward to doing more with you in the future. I want you to thank our speakers as well, if you can give them a round of applause. As you saw with little Bana, she's a brave girl. It takes a lot of bravery to share these very intimate moments and stories with everybody, knowing it's filmed, knowing it's going to be watched by thousands of people all around the world. It takes great courage. If you enjoyed watching the event tonight, you can watch it again or share it with others. It'll be online at peacetalks.net, where you can see also a lot of the other speeches that have been given all around the world. We've taken this to many different cities around the world. And to close, I understand our friends at Salesforce have organized a reception, so I'd like to invite you all over to the area over here for a drink and to share your own stories with each other about how you're going to help make the world a better place. So thank you very much.